understand what's going on about it. When you're playing a video game right now, a lot of games are favoring these loot boxes. It's a way to make money post-production.
Yeah.
We'll go into like whether or not that's a good idea and stuff like that here in a bit. But so say you're playing, we'll use Overwatch. You buy Overwatch for how much is Overwatch? $30?
The game itself?
Yeah.
I think it's still $40 or $35. Yeah, 35, 40.
Say you're buying it for $40, right?
Yeah.
So you get this game for $40, and it's a $40 value game. It really is. But you can spend a little bit of money to get a box, and I think they do their boxes the best. But you buy get a box, and when you open that box, it can have awesome skins. It could have things you spray paint on the wall. It could have stickers. It could have sound effects. It could have anything in there.
Yeah.
But it's a way for them to continue making money after you've already bought in the game.
Yeah.
So the yin and yang of this is, yes, they're still working on content that already exists. So they're adding to a game you already like.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I'm getting more content, and it's only fair I paid for that content.
But you don't need that content to play the game the same way, right?
Well, and like the bad side of that too. Yeah, you don't need the content, so you don't have to spend the money on
I need
it.
those skins.
Well,
I need the skins.
the bad side of that is a lot of people argue like, well, they're using their time to make those skins. They could be making Overwatch 2. They could just be making the game better.
True.
Yeah, but what are you going to take
away?
away a whole department, like a whole game department for people to make a couple skins?
But long term,
that's just two
Right.
guys.
for
to
their
design.
business model, long term, it would make more sense to just make a cheap game, throw it out there that people are going to just jump on because you have the reputation, and then put a lot of money into this, which actually makes the long term cash, right?
Right, and then what's become a problem is companies like EA's got a real big problem with this. The randomized thing of it. So say I really want a Bastion skin on Overwatch, and I'll buy a box thinking like, oh man, maybe like 10% chance I'll get Bastion skin.
Yeah.
And so I get the box not in there, and I'll buy the next 100 boxes trying to get this Bastion skin, thinking it's gotta come up eventually, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the odds of getting that skin is.
Yeah.
I have no clue. So what they want to do now, what a lot of countries have been demanding, is that you just put on there, it's less than 1% chance you'll get this. It's a 3% chance you'll get that. It's a 5% chance you'll get this. So that you know what you're buying when you get into it.
Yeah.
And where this is all coming from is there's countries like, I think it's Norway, that have been telling FIFA,
I think you said Netherlands earlier.
Netherlands,
Is that
it's
true?
one
Whatever.
of those countries
Yeah.
in Europe, and sorry, we don't know which one. Actually, we have a lot of fans out in Norway, so I'm very sorry about that. So I'm always thinking of you guys. Anyways, they've actually banned FIFA, saying like, you guys either get rid of loot boxes, because the way it works for them is you can use these, you buy these cards, it'll unlock a player you can put in your Ultimates teams, right? Is that what it's called?
Ultimate Team.
And then you could use this player that's like really hard to get or whatever.
In
But-
like competitions they're in, right? Yeah.
Well, in anything, in just regular gameplay, but it's randomized that you'll get that player.
Uh-huh.
You have to keep buying these cards, so it's essentially gambling,
Yeah.
right? Without actually cash coming back, but it's still enjoyment you're getting back, so it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so that, Norway said, you guys got to get rid of this. Netherlands, whatever, get rid of this. And FIFA said, no, it's all right. We'll just leave or they're banned. And so they're just left.
Yeah.
So now it's not available in that country that I forgot, but, and that's growing concern. The U.S. has also slightly started whispering that, and U.S. is a big consumer country for them.
Yeah.
There's many of them, but we're one of the biggies. And so to get ahead of this, they came together and created their own commission for this to create this loot box thing so that the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, won't come down on them.
Yeah.
Because FTC's been kind of like throwing the whispers out there like, hey guys,
This is a problem. Start working on a solution before we have to come talk to you about it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so this is what they did. Now, the last time they've done this was when they created the ESRB, which is something we've all taken for advantage now, but it's M for mature, E for everyone. That's actually industry created, not government created. And so that's what they're doing. They're basically getting out there before it becomes something that's regulated by the government, and they have no control over the
Yeah.
situation.
That's smart.
Now, Squeaks, you're very familiar with loot boxes. What do you think of this situation? Do you think it's a good idea?
I think I don't think it's good or bad. I don't think it's going to affect anything. I think if you're going to put a couple stats on a box, if let's just say Overwatch, because we've been talking about it, and that's where I spend most of my money on
Yeah.
for loot boxes, I'm still going to pay my $40 or whatever I want for a loot box. It's not going to change me at all.
Yeah.
I think because I'm used to the odds of maybe getting a legendary skin. I know if I get 40 boxes, I'll probably get, I think I was maybe like 3 or 4 out of the 40 for like legendary skins. But it's not going to change me.
Do you get loot boxes looking for specific items, hoping you get a certain thing?
There's
Or you just
for that
bored
game
and-
specifically. There's so many characters and so many skins go around for each one, so it doesn't. I have my main characters I like, and it would be nice to get skins for them.
Yeah.
But if you don't get the skins, okay, so if you get a copy of something, they give you the gold instead,
Yeah,
which
that's cool.
eventually you can buy your skin.
Then you could buy it outright.
Yeah.
That's
I think
the
Overwatch
gold.
actually has one of the best loot box
Yeah.
policies out there. I think.
But I never spent money. That's the only game I really spent real money on for loot boxes. Other than that, I don't, because I just don't feel like anything else is really worth it for me.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think it's worth them putting the
No,
stats on? You don't think it's worth
I
it?
don't think it's.
I
Gonna
think
change
more
anyone.
information is not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
And that's perfect, but I don't think when someone gets that information, I don't think someone's gonna be like, well, I really wanted the skin, but that 0.01% now is really affecting the way of me spending my money. I think
Yeah.
people are still gonna spend their money.
I think as a company though, or an industry, it's good to take a step forward and say we want to prove before anybody questions it that we're not trying to take advantage of our customers. That's pretty
Yeah.
much what they're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're actually getting. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's not necessarily, they don't really care if it works or not. They just
Yeah.
know that it will be a problem in the future.
Yeah.
So let's just get out there and get this in there.
And what's
out of the
cool
way.
is when you're showing this special skin is a 1 in a million chance you can win it, then people could see that people want that skin. Some people will still bid on it, but you could say this certain Tuesday of the month, now it's a 10 in a million chance, or you can increase the
Oh,
odds.
So people
You're gonna
spend money
have
more.
summer sales and stuff
Yeah.
like
That's
that.
a
Where
very
all of a
good point.
sudden, hey, you buy 10 boxes today,
Yeah.
you have a lot better chance of winning the things
And
you
they're
want.
still disclosing all the stuff that they need to.
Then
you know?
they can play with it a lot.
The only people I see actually being deterred by this, there's two groups I think happening. You have the very minimal players that are maybe they
Yeah.
like Madden, or maybe they only get the FIFA games, because we'll use FIFA because it's a real big problem. And so they get the game. They don't play games enough to understand the grind or to understand loot box chances because they're relatively only playing once a year. So I'll buy a couple packs. I'll get something cool and that'll be good. They don't get something cool and they're like, oh, it must have been a problem. I'll buy the next pack. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you could kind of get that vibe of just like it's not a problem.
Yeah.
And so this would kind of shed a light on the not in game industry informed like we are.
Yeah.
We understand how loot boxes work.
Yeah.
So the
If you're
casual
not
players
informed-
won't buy them.
Yeah, so then you
Yeah.
can see like, oh no, it's rare that you get this stuff.
Yeah.
They might not know how rare it is. The other group that I think this will also affect, like I was originally thinking kids, but I don't think kids care as much. I was thinking this might affect the kids that are constantly buying on their parents' credit cards, but I don't think it matters what the odds
Yeah.
are. They're going to be
Yeah.
buying on their credit cards
Yeah,
either
it's
way.
tax your money.
Yeah, but the big concern that's coming out of these nations that are fighting this is the gambling problem, is because these games use the same exact bells and whistles that are used in casinos.
Yeah.
And if a casino could show you the exact odds of you winning something, it
Sure.
might change
Oh yeah.
how many
definitely.
quarters you throw in that machine, you know?
But is there any difference between that and an arcade game?
Well, yeah, because arcade's not going to give you anything back. I mean, it might
Well,
give you tickets, but
Gives you tickets, you go and redeem it for a prize. You take
yeah,
that
but
home.
that's
What if that prize you won is a Grand Theft Auto video game? It could be anything like that.
I don't know. What do you think about that? To me, it feels like you're throwing your money in the wind in an arcade.
I think because you're actually paying for the entertainment on an arcade game.
Same as your
Like,
game.
yeah, you get the ticket.
You're paying for the entertainment of wearing a different skin. You just
Yeah,
or the gamble
that's-
of
Right, but if you were to if I want to go and buy that skin for $2, that's different than me buying a pack that might have that skin in it. I might have to spend 10.
I can go buy the big teddy bear that's on the wall at the arcade at a store, or I play a game for hours and maybe I
I was
get
gonna
enough
say
tickets to
but I
win.
earned that teddy bear, but I also earned
The skin.
loot box.
Luck.
Or
Yeah.
so, you know what I mean?
I think it's the same as so it's splitting hairs of where you think the laws should be on gambling with video games because arcades are
Well, yeah,
in
but
between
also
the two.
arcade games, you earn, like, say some games are the better you do, the more tickets you get.
Some
right?
of them.
So that's not really gambling, but when you get the ones with the big wheel and you pull down the lever and you see how many tickets you get, then that's a gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think back to the video games thing, I think for most people it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But there are situations where certain games it's actually it becomes the dreaded word pay to win.
Mhm.
When a game's pay to win, so many gamers, including myself, just don't touch it because then
Yeah.
they're in it for the wrong thing.
I do.
Well, but okay, so but
'Cause I want to be
FIFA,
better than everyone.
exactly. But this FIFA thing
Yeah.
is that way where if
Yeah.
you have the money,
Yeah.
like I want to spend $60. If you guys really earn it, I'll buy DLCs that expand the game.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to spend money to buy characters that make me stronger. That'd be silly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy a fast
Yeah.
car and a racing game just so I can beat everybody. That's not why I'm playing a racing game.
If I could
Yeah.
pay to beat the person, then there's no satisfaction in
Yeah.
beating him of my skill and practice and
Exactly.
conditioning. It's just
and
I
it's
just
not,
paid for it.
I don't want to play a game where other players have that advantage either
Yeah.
because then
I want
like,
you to beat me because you're really good and you've played in
Exactly.
that car or
I
that
don't mind
gun
losing.
or whatever so much more
Yeah.
than me.
right. So I think that's kind of the thing too, where if this might shed a light on. That's the problem. We need to solve a problem. We don't need to necessarily show this odds thing. It's good. I don't think it's really going to solve much, but stopping pay to win, I think, is the real thing we need to do.
Yeah.
Or make it more obvious so that people know, hey, this is a pay to win game. To where people know.
People wouldn't play those games very much, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if it's out there, it's out. You know what I'm saying? Like, just make that more transparent.
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking about those players that don't play very often. They only play maybe once a year.
Yeah.
Make it obvious that, like, hey, if you play Ultimate Team mode or whatever, you're playing against players that have the ability to throw more cash into your Xbox and beat you because of that.
Yeah, it does suck, though, because if you think of, like, the best soccer players, like, you just load up your team, and then you're like, holy shit. And you look at the opponent's team, you're like, damn, how do you get... the Real Madrid's basically players are the best players in the world.
Yeah,
so
it feels unfair. And then if I knew before I went to Walmart to buy that game that I was going to be playing, like my favorite parts is Ultimates, then I would, or if I'm going to buy a couple packs, think I could compete against these guys. It kind of puts everything on a level playing field, showing like this is a pay to win game. You can anticipate that happening to you now before you're a wiser consumer beforehand.
And if we make it to where that has to be, advertised or whatever, then games will probably get rid of that aspect to where you can pay a fortune and have a ton of different skins and cool things to just make your character look good. You get a little house and you can put a different lamp in it or whatever, but not stuff that actually affects gameplay and how good you are in the game.
And that's why I like Overwatch a lot. You're not paying for winning stuff. You're just paying for skins.
Yeah.
So Overwatch has a really good system.
You're not doing anything. I mean, they won't do anything for you. So.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty much where we're at. I think we're good at loot boxes as long as they're cosmetic, and that's the situation that we're in right now.
So that's the problem now, though, is that some of those loot boxes that you have a slim chance of winning affect your gameplay. Yeah,
and you go above and beyond, and so that is an even bigger incentive to try to make that gamble, to do that gamble.
Yeah,
that's literally FIFA's problem.
You put down hundreds of dollars and get tons of junk skins you don't care about, but you don't get that extra character that would make you beat somebody else.
And you lost that gamble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing too that I just want to throw out there, everybody's like, oh, loot boxes are terrible. But one thing we don't talk about often is, I mean, how much was an Xbox original game? $60, right?
Yeah.
How much is an Xbox One game? $60 as well. The prices of the games haven't gone up.
Yeah.
But they've just added additional content.
Cost of living has gone up. So you have to understand that the industry has to change. We need loot boxes because if we don't have a way, we need DLCs. We need these things. And I know it's not fun thinking that there's extra expenses out there, but the alternative is spending $80 to $90 to $100 games.
And these games have gotten a lot better. Development must be costing more because the games are growing.
Well, yeah, in a way, yeah, I think you're right. I think because the games need more sound designers, they need more level designers.
Just graphic design in the games. There's so much more depth to them than Halo.
You think that's why they make more editions of the game when you come out? So For Honor, I told you I spent tons of money. I put tons of hours. I'll get on it with you soon.
Hit me up because I'm still very baby mode, but
I put so many hours and I spent a lot of money on that game when it first came out because they came out with here's the regular one, here's something else, and then the gold one. So I bought the maxed out one. So you think maybe that's why they're doing it to help pay for some of these things?
Probably.
You think so?
I think that's one of the levels, but
because they give you free stuff because of that, but it's probably doesn't cost them anything really. This extra little stuff they give you.
Because they could have stayed in their lane and just make a game, wait till you get bored with it, make another one, just keep going down the line. But they're saying that they need to kind of diversify a little bit and find other ways without you getting bored with your game and having to go buy another game. Other ways to get you to be invested in them.
I bet money that the production cost going. The idea of making a game, selling it, that revenue being done at that point, and then moving on to the next game, doesn't. I mean, we know there's no way it can pay like it did back in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s. It can't make that kind of money anymore. So now you have to divide it up to where you have make a game, make the next game, and in between you have a smaller team milking that last game until the next game comes out, and then so you're stretching the revenue more on each game, which then pays for the development of the next game better.
Yeah,
I think that's what's happening right now.
It has to be calculated into their projections too, because there's like you're saying, they've grown so much. There's no way that they can continue to make these games with the same cost expenses that they used to.
And as long as we keep the developers honest, because a lot of times we have the loot boxes that make it pay to win, or we'll have the problem where like World of Warcraft gets blamed for this, but I don't think it might be their problem, but they'll be making something in the game that definitely takes a lot of resources to make that can be used to better the current. So I'll give you an example. You're probably familiar with this, Squeaks. A game will be coming out and they're like, oh, if you pre-order it, you'll get the next season pass. And so what that's basically telling, and this is what the next season pass is. I'll tell you what it is. So what that's telling you is the game's done in October. They're not going to release it until December. And if you pay for it already, they're already working in October on the next thing that's coming out in February. So what's happening is the game's done. They, instead of releasing it early or anything like that, or putting more into that game, like before the game comes out, you could be putting this into that game, but instead you guys are saving that bit, so it's almost like an unfinished game for more paid content. So we have to keep them honest.
We're going to charge you for this nugget if you want to buy it while we're already working on the next nugget.
Exactly, and we didn't finish the first nugget you bought, basically.
Do you think that's always necessary, though? I'm going to say Ultimate Alliance 3 came out, and they're already saying, "Holy, if you buy our DLC Season Pass, that's what Season Pass. If you get the Season Pass, we'll give you these 3 character sets." Now, do you think it's just characters, and they didn't say anything about more story content? You think that be your route, or be like, oh well, these are the characters, but we haven't really worked on them yet. It's just characters.
Well, and that's the thing too. See, that's where we're right now. We're in a very good moment, I think, because that's a good one right there. Because I think all you're doing is you're changing skins, basically, right? It's basically the same bipedal motor you're running off of. You're adding a new skin, adding new spell effects, and that character's done. Really, that's all they're doing. So I don't think it's a lot more to add those. But if they were to say, like, and pre-order this, and we already have the next 3 chapters of content done,
I get
we'll add that shit to the game I'm buying, you know?
Yeah.
So, I
guess it just depends what it is, really. If it's just characters, then it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But if it's like, okay, you already have a new story coming out, then that's kind of like, all right, what's going on? And
we have to, as consumers, have the self-control to show our disdain in that and not purchase those games when we know that they're... Well, no, that game I'm not saying... When we know when a game's being shady, when, when Call of Duty's not coming out with a campaign. Don't buy
that's
the
what
game.
Saying. If you're saying Death Stranding is coming out with a DLC or anything, maybe because of this whole thing with PC or whatever, that'd be horrible because that game's been in development for so long.
Yeah, and so that's a good point. So if there's anything more coming out from that game and you already have it planned, screw you guys. That game should have been out already.
Shit, yeah.
So there's a lot going on there. We're in a real sweet time right now where if we don't like a game we purchased, we're not a big fans of it. You don't have to buy the DLC. But I think that might become, we don't know. We're really kind of in a fluctuating time.